Welcome back, and I'm basically trying to get some progress made because Madison's getting ready to go back to school. She's going to be gone, and so I've got about a week to get as much done as possible, but I know I've got to let the paint dry and all that and polish it. So I'll probably be bringing it up to her at school a week later after she moves in. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to bevel out some of the holes that I made in the pick guard so that the screws will set into it real nice, and then I'll start adding some electronics to the pick guard. So basically doing things just to try and get them out of the way so that we're ready to go ASAP on assembly. So that probably means that eventually I'll have to do those frets. I'm not looking forward to doing that, but I've got some practice in it. It'll go fine. It's just kind of tedious work, you know, so anyway, rambling on. Okay, essentially I just put little bevels in here, and it looks black because that center strip on the pick guard, because it's 3-ply, that center strip is black, so it kind of looks like it's all burnt, but it's not. It's just that center strip, and you won't see it because the screw should fit nicely right over that. Here, let me screw this in so you can check it out. Something about like that. Don't know if this is focusing, but all right. So got the pick guard here pretty much ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this copper shielding tape on it. This came with the kit, so I figured I'd use up all these strips before I cut it into my own stash, and then just go ahead, put it on here, then we'll start adding the electronics. In case anybody's wondering, I'm sure most everybody knows, but this is to help with the shielding, to create, in essence, like a Faraday cage where the electronics are, prevent noise, feedback, but I don't know how important it is, but figured what the heck. We'll go ahead and use it. Try to rule out any issues. So I'm just going to stick it all on the back and then trim it down with an X-Acto blade. So we'll just go with some big strips, we'll cover the whole thing. And this stuff is remarkably sharp. So if you're using it for the first time, keep that in mind because the edges on it will totally slice up your fingers. No lie. Sometimes I'll kind of rub it along the outline like this to get an impression, and then just cut along the impressions with the scissors to get it pretty much the size I need. But for now, I'll just rough cut this, get it out of the way, because it sticks to everything. Super adhesive. There we go. And it's these pieces that'll dice up your fingers. So basically you can kind of put it like this, run your finger along the edge, and then cut out the shape roughly along your impression. I'm going a little bit bigger just so that I get it all the way to the edge. We'll trim down more accurately later. Okay, there we go. So we'll just go ahead and trim those edges with the X-Acto knife so you don't see them hanging out all sloppy like that. And then I'll start putting stuff on this pickguard. Okay, this shouldn't be too difficult. We're not doing any soldering or anything. Just basically gonna attach this. Oh, and to give you an update, I did clean the edges with the X-Acto, or as some people would say, the scalpel. And then I went ahead and I just kind of sanded the edges so that I don't slice myself up every time I rub a finger across. There's still danger, but I think I'll be okay. And it came out pretty nice and clean. Got all the copper off the sides. Okay, so theoretically, this should fit. I used the plate that it came with as a template for the holes, so they should all line up perfectly. Yeah, I don't know where this accent or whatever it is coming from, but I'll just go with it. These guys even have a little extra wire, but I don't think I'm gonna need to use it all. I might just leave it all bound up like that. Super nice, neat package. The wiring is pretty awesome. I'm hoping that it sounds as spectacular as it looks. Let's see. What's the name of the company? Might as well give them a little thank you / plug. Starr Guitar Systems. A little contact info. I think you can see that. Anyway, see if we can't find something else to do. Okay, one of the things that I have is this little cover that'll go on the headstock to cover the truss rod in access, and it's that classic Rickenbacker shape and everything. I just used a template to cut it out of that pickguard material. Gonna go ahead and just remove that protective plastic, and then I guess I should probably drill the holes before I move on with this next part. So I'll be right back. Okay, that was quick. Got a few holes in place. I already had them marked up, so that was really easy. And then as far as like personalization, I didn't really give this guitar an official name, so I'm just gonna stick with Madison. And so I kind of got one of these Madison emblems off of Etsy. I can put a link to it too. And comes with a few screws, or a couple screws, which I probably won't even need because they're going to be so long they'd go right through the pickguard material. I'll probably just go ahead and glue it on. Maybe fill the holes with some just the screw heads or something to make it look like they're really in there, but don't really need to attach it with screws. I think people put this on either the guitar, sometimes amps. They get these custom metal. It's pretty rad though. So you just choose like the font and everything you want. The name. They let me actually customize the size a little bit because I wanted it a little smaller. Because it is left-handed, the big part is going to have to go over the small area as opposed to flipped around for a right-hander, which would be a lot easier. But I don't want it to be upside down when she's playing on a left-handed one. So we're gonna flip it around like this. And that's what it's gonna look like. So I'm just gonna put a couple drops of super glue on there. And like I said, probably fill these holes with some screw heads to make it look like the appearance of it being screwed on. And that's it. Okay, got everything set up here. Kind of lightly marked with an ink pen where I want the holes to match up on the nameplate here. Just gonna use some thick adhesive super glue and just gonna put some dabs on this, and then I'll put this pad on it, clamp it up. Cool. So like I said, I'm just going to try and fill this hole and that hole. And I'll probably take my Dremel and just cut these little tiny screw head covers off. Super glue them in, just for looks. Okay, so I just used some needle nose and a Dremel cut the heads off of the screws, and it's kind of funny, I used PPE or whatever you call it, goggles for protection and everything like that. The little shaft they got cut off, apparently they get pretty hot and you can kind of see, I picked it up and I don't know if you'll see it, but it left a full imprint on my fingertips. It's kind of funny, but careful, it gets hot. I'm also barefoot in my workshop, probably not the best thing, so if I find it on the ground, I'll let you know by screaming. Okay, so I've got these heads cut off, and they're probably scalding hot as well. I don't know if you can see them. So I'll just super glue those onto the cover. Figured I might as well leave it clamped up while I was doing that to make sure that it's nice and attached. Okay, let's see how this will fit. Yeah, I think that'll look good. Give the illusion of a screw holding it on, not just super glue. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. Ding your guitar. I'm gonna be taking off the tape here, getting her ready for a little fret leveling. Plus I'm curious if I'll even be able to get this tape off after spraying all those coats of clear. So fingers crossed. Let's see if we can't get the tape off. And I think we're going to be able to get rid of that makeshift spray booth there too. So that'll be nice. So that came out good. Clean up the fretboard, and then when I do the polishing and wet sand, we'll smooth out this little seam that I've got going across the binding, which is not going to be a major. And then we're going to be that much closer to final assembly. Looking good.